You don't need to change your face, your body, or your bank account to get more dates in 30 days with the Stoic mindset. The real shift happens when you change who you are on the inside, not in the obvious way, but in that quiet space where decisions are made, where your gaze changes, your posture shifts, and suddenly the world begins to respond differently, without you having to force a thing. Stoicism doesn't teach you to fake confidence. It molds you into a man of conscious masculinity, with silent leadership, a strong sense of purpose, and a natural magnetism. In just 30 days, you can spark real female attraction, not through appearance, but through authentic masculinity. And if this is the kind of transformation you're looking for, stick with me until the end. Because in the last point, I'll reveal the shift most men never even notice. If this content makes you see things differently, like it, share it, and drop a comment below. It helps other men tap into their own invisible power too, alright? Let's dive into the first essential element of this transformation element. 1. The power of the man who doesn't try too hard. It's common to see men overdoing it, talking too loud, trying to prove something, craving attention in every move. But true impact comes from the opposite. When a man knows who he is, the world feels it. That's silent leadership. It demands respect and draws others in. Women especially notice it. There's something deeply magnetic about a man who owns the room without needing to dominate it. The man who tries too hard to please loses himself in desperate little gestures, laughing too hard at bad jokes, agreeing with everything she says, complimenting her nonstop, checking in obsessively. He fades without realizing it. Instead of generating female attraction, he creates discomfort and even pity. That kind of forced effort, born from insecurity, cancels out the chance to create a distinct presence. Because anything exaggerated signals a lack of inner balance. In practice, building this presence takes deconstruction. It means letting go of the need for constant validation, resisting the urge to boast, observing more than speaking. Walk upright, keep your gaze steady, and keep your mind calm. Men who meditate, who walk alone with awareness, who train without seeking praise, these are the ones who start developing that rare kind of quiet charisma. It's not about being silent. It's about being whole. Have you ever seen a guy like that? The one who barely speaks, yet everyone listens when he does. That's the kind of man who carries invisible power. And yes, that's something you can train. Every day, instead of trying to be funnier or flashier, train yourself to simply be present. Slow your speech. Truly listen. Hold your gaze with calm strength. That's what authentic masculinity looks like in posture. This kind of energy creates effortless female attraction. It sparks curiosity, admiration, and above all, respect. It's not about being unreachable, but about being so grounded that she senses something rare in you. And what's rare attracts not from neediness but from value. A man who doesn't need to speak loudly speaks directly to a woman's soul. And it's on this quiet foundation that the other elements begin to take form. Because if your core is solid, nothing you build on top will collapse. Perfect. Now let's move on to the second key element of this Stoic journey of transformation. Element 2. The magnetism of the man who doesn't beg for attention. The average guy believes that to be noticed, he has to chase women, start every conversation, force small talk, text constantly, and always be available. But that generates the opposite of female attraction. It communicates scarcity. And in the world of psychology, scarcity repels. The man going through a masculine rebirth starts to realize that the secret isn't chasing, it's attracting. And that comes from within, not from desperate approaches. When he begins to walk with purpose, speak more calmly, and meet eyes without rushing, something changes. He doesn't have to force anything anymore, because he carries invisible power. This kind of man catches attention, not by insistence, but through a distinct presence. He doesn't offer himself as just another option. He becomes a possibility, one that sparks curiosity. He's a man with time, who doesn't beg for anyone's in everyday life. This shows in small things. He's not checking his phone every 5 minutes hoping for a reply. He's not trying to start a conversation with every woman in the room. He's simply there whole, focused on his life. And that alone is attractive. Because what is rare naturally increases in value. It's one of the unspoken rules of the psychology of seduction. Self-control breeds desire. And yes, this kind of magnetism can be trained. Start by eliminating habits that make you look too available. Stop liking every photo from women you barely know. Stop replying instantly to every tiny bit of attention. Replace all that with actions that build your core. Work out, study, read Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, and practice strategic silence. That's how you become a man of radical self-respect. That posture attracts women who value depth, not just looks. Because a man who isn't begging for attention signals that something greater is already happening in his life. And deep down, every woman wants to be part of something greater. When she senses that in you, even if she can't explain it, she comes closer. Not because you asked for love, but because you radiate a presence that's irresistible. And once that presence becomes part of who you are, the next level begins to unfold. The level that separates the men who constantly react from those who are always building. Excellent. Now let's move on to the third step in this silent and powerful transformation. Element 3. The energy of a man too busy being interesting. You want to attract more dates? Then stop chasing and start building. Nothing grabs attention like a man who's busy being himself and becoming great at it. When your focus is on self-improvement, everything changes. Your eyes, your posture, even your silence carries a different weight. That's when magnetic presence is born, not from pickup lines, but from a lifestyle that speaks for itself. The problem is, many men are waiting for life to start after they find someone. They're stuck in pause mode, craving attention, validating themselves through likes and compliments. That screams neediness. And neediness repels. The Stoic man flips the script. He focuses on what he can control, on his purpose in life, on his daily goals. And that steady forward motion? That's what truly attracts. Picture two men. One spends his day scrolling, posting vague quotes, and sending random texts. The other trains in the morning, studies something new in the afternoon, works on a personal project at night, and goes to bed with a clear mind. Who has the next level power of attraction? The answer is obvious. Because the man who's busy being interesting doesn't need to seek attention. He already is a magnet. Want to apply this? Start with a solid routine. Don't fill your schedule with distractions. Fill it with things that elevate you. Exercise regularly. Learn something new every week. Get into a creative hobby. Read books like Antifragile by Nassim Taleb or The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. These will connect you to your conscious masculinity and generate a vibe most women can't ignore. This kind of man doesn't have to say, "Look how interesting I am." His actions, his energy, even his silence already say it all. He moves at a different rhythm. And when a woman senses that current, she feels that there's space there for something real. There's nothing more seductive than a man who's already built his own world and simply says, "You're welcome to join, but I don't need you to complete it." And here's a quick pause. If this content is opening your eyes to things you used to overlook, hit the like button now and subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning. Let's keep going. In the next part, you'll understand what truly separates the men who are remembered from the ones who are forgotten. Let's move on to the fourth element of this Stoic path toward natural attraction and personal mastery. Element 4. The inner voice that doesn't sell out for applause. There's something powerful about a man who makes decisions without needing approval. He doesn't mold himself to please, doesn't adjust to be liked. He simply is. And that consistency between what he thinks, feels, and does creates a rare force, authentic masculinity. This kind of energy triggers female attraction that defies logic. Because in a world full of copycats, the original stands out. The man who chases applause is always guessing. What does she want to hear? What sounds the nicest? What makes him more likable? And little by little, he loses his essence. Every forced concession chips away at who he is. And when a woman picks up on that pattern, she pulls away, not to be cruel, but because something feels off. Without truth, there's no connection. The Stoic man, on the other hand, practices assertive communication. He doesn't need to be rude to be firm. He knows how to say no without guilt, how to speak his mind without needing to win the argument. That kind of emotional clarity makes him solid, respected. He's direct, but not harsh. Honest, but not aggressive. Clear, and that clarity signals high value. Want to cultivate this? Start saying what you really think, even in the small things. Pick a restaurant, even if she's indecisive. Share your opinion calmly, even if it goes against hers. Say no when you mean it. Read the book, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, and start standing your ground. The more you practice, the more your voice will begin to sound like truth. Over time, this man becomes unmistakable. He doesn't need to be liked by everyone, because he's already at peace with who he is. He attracts women who are looking for something real and repels the ones who thrive on emotional games. That filters, elevates, and places you in a different league, the league of men who know the value of their own silence and the power of a true yes. And when that truth begins to guide your decisions, a new kind of confidence starts to grow, not the one you show others, but the one you feel when no one else is around. Excellent. Let's move into the fifth element of this Stoic journey toward attracting more dates with authenticity. Element 5. The confidence that's built in the dark. Most men look for confidence in all the wrong places. Compliments, female validation, likes, or momentary wins. But the Stoic knows that inner confidence doesn't come from applause. It's built in the dark, those moments when no one's watching, when he follows through on promises to himself, when he trains despite being tired, studies without motivation, keeps going without anyone to impress. That's how the invisible is built. A man still dependent on external validation is emotionally unstable. One day, he feels like the most confident guy alive. The next, he sinks into doubt because she didn't text back. That reveals a fragile foundation. And no matter how well he hides it, women sense it. They feel the cracks. They also feel when a man is structurally solid, and that's what draws them in. When a man builds that solid base, he radiates emotional security. It's not arrogance. It's being comfortable in his own skin, even in the face of rejection. It's looking in the mirror and feeling proud for staying loyal to himself. That's invisible power. And you can feel it before a single word is spoken. It's like a field around him that commands respect. How do you start building that? Set small daily commitments and keep them. Wake up at the same time. Stick to a reading habit. Practice mindful breathing. Write your goals weekly. That kind of consistency creates roots. I recommend the book The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It shows how small routines can shape powerful men. With time, that consistency becomes magnetic. Women sense that there's something steady in you, something reliable. Even if they can't explain it, they're drawn to it. Because the world is full of men who know how to perform, but empty of men who know how to stand tall. When you can stand on your own, you stop begging and start choosing. And it's when you no longer depend on outside attention that your next level of strength emerges, the one that shifts the energy in the room before you even speak. Perfect. Let's now move on to the sixth element in this Stoic transformation, the one that makes a man unshakably attractive. Element 6. The aura of a man at peace with his own silence. There's something hypnotic about a man who doesn't feel the need to fill every silence. He doesn't force conversation. He doesn't talk just to talk. He doesn't try to show off what he knows. He's just there, present, aware, at peace with the quiet. And that projects something rare. An irresistible presence. In today's world, where everyone's desperate to be heard, the man who listens stands out. Many men sabotage potential dates for one reason. They talk too much. They feel uneasy in silence, rush to tell stories, try to be funny, keep the conversation alive. But that reveals anxiety. And anxiety feels like emotional neediness. The Stoic man trains a different art, the art of listening. He understands that, when used wisely, silence seduces more than any flirty compliment ever could. In practice, this starts with mindfulness. When you're with someone, truly listen. Don't interrupt, pause, breathe, respond with intention, not impulse. Read The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle to understand how presence transforms not just you, but how others feel around you. This practice builds emotional intelligence and creates a lasting impact with no extra effort. That kind of stillness creates a unique atmosphere. The woman feels safe. not pressured. And that's what opens the door to real connection. A man who radiates calmness attracts not just desire, but trust. And trust is the bridge to intimacy. She feels she can be herself without judgment. And that's where real connection begins, not with seduction, but with security. Men like this don't need to raise their voice. Their energy fills the space. They master the art of watching more than performing, of allowing others to speak, of being comfortable in the space between words. And that creates a natural magnetism few can resist. While other men rush to impress, he simply remains whole, and that alone is deeply impressive. And once this inner calm becomes your ally, the final pillar is revealed, the one that turns a man into a symbol of respect, desire, and quiet admiration. Let's now explore the seventh and final element of this Stoic journey of attraction. Element 7. The mind of a man who knows where he's going. The man who attracts isn't the one who has it all figured out. It's the one with direction. He may not be at the top, but he's climbing. He may not be the most successful, but he has unshakable will. And that's noticeable. Women feel it when a man is connected to something bigger than his desire to win them over. They sense when he has a mission. And mission attracts more than looks, money, or polished lines ever could. Without purpose, a man drifts like a leaf in the wind. One day he's driven, the next he's lost in distraction. One moment he wants something serious, the next he ghosts. That inconsistency repels. But the Stoic man lives aligned with a clear life purpose. He knows where he stands, and each step he takes silently communicates strength. Having purpose doesn't mean having everything figured out. It means being committed to the path. You can be a simple guy, starting from zero. But if you have a clear vision of what you want to build, whether it's a business, a stronger body, or a more disciplined life, that already sets you apart. Because few things are more attractive than a man under construction. To find your path, carve out space for reflection. Ask yourself hard questions. What do I want to leave behind? What drives me? Where do I want to be a year from now? Read Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Write down your vision. Structure your days around it. That clarity creates a distinguished presence. And a man aligned with purpose emits a vibration that others feel without a word. This man doesn't live in emotional improvisation. He has goals, rituals, a routine that supports his mission. You can see it in how he walks, talks, and looks at you. He moves with the calm certainty that, with or without her, he's going to keep rising. And that's exactly why she want to walk beside him, because deep down, every woman wants to know the man she's with isn't lost. And when she senses that you know where you're going, she begins to consider walking with you. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be real. A man who rebuilds himself from the inside, who silences the chaos, who finds purpose and cultivates authentic masculinity, naturally becomes someone who attracts not by looks, but by presence. And it all starts with small character shifts. Practice daily with intention and consistency. Your masculine rebirth isn't magic. It's discipline. It's courage. It's direction. Now tell me, of all these elements, which one do you most need to strengthen? And which are you already practicing, even if you didn't have the words for it before? Drop a comment below. Your story might help another man on the same path. And if you've made it this far, I sincerely thank you. That means you're not someone who runs from the truth. And that already puts you in a different league. Comment below. I'm walking the path of presence, so I'll know you're part of this quiet brotherhood of men waking up to their true worth. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear these truths, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, because every week I'll bring more content like this to help you develop your invisible power and your female attraction with clarity, consciousness, and inner strength.